Good morning. Well, I guess it's good afternoon by now. Sort of lost track of time on this snowy day. This is what it looks like outside my kitchen window. I'm sure yours looks the same. Unless you're in somewhere beautiful right now. I don't know if you can see Frosty out there. There he is with the red scarf on. So welcome into my kitchen. Today we've come inside, we've been playing outside for a while. Everybody's needing a break. The clothes are in the dryer, getting ready for round 2. Pup needs a little bit of a break. He's worn out. Kids put on a movie. I put on my most comfortable sweatshirt I have, and what I want to do on a snowy day is either curl up and read a book, take a nap, or make muffins. So that's what I love to do in my house. Bake something yummy for the kids that's delicious, but still healthy. So I'm gonna take you through and hang out with you while I make muffins. So what we've got here, I already put 2 of the bananas in. I need to put the third, so your bananas should start off looking like that to make them really nice and sweet. I'm gonna set you down for a second while I mash the bananas. Just because I can't hold you and mash at the same time. Let's see if this works, that I don't crack my phone for the 4th time. Let's see. Let me know if you get dizzy here. There we go. Think you're good for a minute. So, taking the bananas. Got a little Trevor Hall in the background because who doesn't like to bake without Trevor Hall in the background? Masher. Fork will work too if you don't have a masher. Also a nice way to get out a little aggression if you have it. Mash those bananas up. Try not to wake the pup in the background. So you want to mash them up until they're smooth and not too lumpy. Whoops. I was mashing a little too hard, you fell. That off to the side. Good, so this is what it looks like. Okay, now we're gonna crack an egg in. I didn't think I had egg, so a nice substitute if you don't have an egg in is flax meal. Just 1 tablespoon of flax meal. Boil up some water, 3 tablespoons of water, mix it together, and then you can use that as a substitute for an egg in baking. You don't want to do it if you have too many eggs that you have to substitute, because the egg really, it firms up and it binds it a little bit more. So, but with 1, it'll work. All right, I'm attempting to do this with 1 hand. 2 little shells there. Let's get rid of those guys. So then the egg, you just take the egg. You can't hold the bowls and hold you at the same time. So mix that in. Okay, so 1 egg. And this recipe calls for a 1/3 cup of yogurt. So I already have it measured out. Greek yogurt. It's a nice substitute for butter, high in protein. And I don't want to waste any, so I'm going to put you down and get my spatula. Okay. My favorite little spatula. Totally Christmas, but I keep it around. Okay, get out all that Greek yogurt. So what I do with a lot of different recipes, I find a recipe that sounds good to me, and then I tweak it. I make it mine. If you don't want to put in dairy, you know, there are other substitutes for dairy. So mix that up. So that was a 1/3 cup of yogurt. And now we're gonna bring in oil. So this recipe calls for canola oil, but I prefer to use coconut oil. I've already melted and cooled it right there, and it's 2 tablespoons. So I'm just gonna pour that oil in. Put that off to the side, whisk it up. Now I'm gonna whisk in the sugar. So this recipe calls for brown sugar, calls for a 1/3 cup of brown sugar. I don't think it needs that much because it's so sweet with the bananas. So I'm actually using 2 tablespoons, and I'm using, instead of brown sugar, I bake with cane sugar. So a little bit healthier. So I'm gonna put that in. Give it a little whisk. Good. And now this recipe calls for maple syrup, a 1/4 cup of maple syrup. I'm not using maple syrup, it's a little bit higher in sugar. I'm using local honey from good old Sussex County, Delaware. Again, I don't want to waste any, so I'm going to put it in, get out my spatula, make sure I get all that honey, that sweet goodness. Love honey. Mix that in. Good. So we've got our sugar, our honey. Now we're gonna put in a teaspoon of vanilla. Put that off to the side. And this recipe is great because unlike a lot of recipes where you put the dry in one section and the wet in another, I honestly am using 1 bowl. I love recipes that I use 1 bowl, less cleaning for me to do. Anything to make our lives easier, right? So we honestly are just gonna sprinkle in some of the dry ingredients. So we have baking soda, teaspoon of baking soda, put that right in, love it. Cinnamon, which it calls for a teaspoon of cinnamon. I put in a heaping teaspoon of cinnamon because I just love cinnamon. Put that in. And then salt. So 1/4 teaspoon of salt right on top there. Put those over here, away. And I'm gonna grab my spoon now. Which spoon do I wanna use? How about this guy? Just mix that in, stirring it in. Good. So you just stir it until it's combined. See how it's all mixed up here. Good. Put that there. Okay. My whisk because I won't need that anymore. And now we're gonna put in our flour. So this recipe calls for 1.5 cups whole wheat flour. I'm just using white whole wheat flour is what they call for. I'm using whole wheat flour because that's just what I have in. You can sift it, which is nice, but I'm feeling lazy on this snowy day, so I'm just gonna put it right in. Put that off to the side. And you want to gently stir in the flour until it's barely combined. So not mixing it too much. We don't want it to change the texture of the muffins. So mix that in. So I've already preheated the oven to 350. My tin is already ready. You can put little cups in, or I just put some oil in just so it doesn't stick. Again, hard to mix holding you, but that's okay. We're making it work together. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the snowy day, finding some peace, some stillness. Maybe you've been out playing in the snow. Okay. And normally you can add in walnuts to this if you're gonna do walnuts, maybe even like a cup, half a cup. But my kiddos will think I am the best mama in the world if I add in some chocolate chips. And I always keep a little baggie, look, not that many, but it's enough to bring a little burst of joy as they bite into that piece of chocolate. So let me see, I think that's all I have up there today. Good. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, since I don't have too many, I'm gonna wait and I'm actually gonna stick them into the muffin. So instead of putting it into the batter, I'll wait and tuck them in so that way I know that each one gets at least, 2 or 3 little chocolate chips. Yeah, so from here, what do? We just drop them right in. Let me grab a spoon, it's a little bit easier to use. A little bit easier. Come closer again, make my life easier so I don't spill. You just fill the tin. About 3/4 of the way. There you go. Can you see it? Oh, there it is. And then I take my chocolate chips and I literally put them in. Little hidden surprise in there. I can probably do 3 in each one and then just bury them in there in the center. So go for that nice little hidden surprise. So I'm going to fill all the muffin tins. I'm going to stick them in, and you cook them for about 22 minutes. Last time I cooked this recipe, I kept them into 22 minutes and I felt like they were a little overdone. So depending on your oven, all of our ovens are so different, just until you can get a toothpick out and it doesn't have any of the batter on it. If you press it down, it pops back up. And then once they come out, let them sit for a minute, put them onto a cooling rack and enjoy. So I'll take a picture of them later if my kids enjoy them. But that's just a little recipe that you can bring in, a healthy, yummy treat for this snowy day. All right? Hope you guys enjoy. Take care.